Remember, what's fulfilling to one person is not fulfilling to other people. And you have to design your life around what fulfills you.
Find a community where fulfillment is understood, it's accepted, it's promoted, it's the way that everybody feels, because it's going to allow you to actually be yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, weekly Next Level University live podcast, week number 76, how to design the most fulfilling life possible. So Alan mentioned this in the preamble. If we design a life for fulfillment, we're going to be way happier. We're going to have way more joy, and we'll have our own version of pleasure. A lot of people chase pleasure at the expense of fulfillment. We're going to talk to you about finding your own version of fulfillment and all the things that come with it. So I remember back when I worked at my old job, for those of you who don't know, I had a six-figure income at 26. I worked up and down the East Coast of the United States. We worked in schools and state-owned buildings, and we made them more energy efficient. Did not really enjoy the job. But what I did do at the beginning is I traded all of my passions in for profit. So when I got this job, I said to myself, you know what? This is a lot of money. I have no college degree. I don't really know how I'm ever going to make $100 an hour again. So I'm going to do this thing. And I think a lot of us do that. I know Alan did that in the past as well, where you might have something you're super, super, super passionate about, but you're chasing money. You're chasing profit. What I say is a lot of people have their P's mixed up. If you find something you're super, super passionate about and you find a way to make it profitable, that leads to fulfillment. So Alan and I started this journey, and we had no idea how we were going to make money. Maybe you did at the time. I don't know. I didn't. I had no idea how we were going to make money. We weren't a business yet. We were just kind of figuring it out. But it's something that we were both super passionate about. And if you can chase your passion, like just imagine a life where you wake up and you get to do what you love and you get paid to do what you love. When Alan and I go on other shows and people say like, tell me about what you do, I'm sure your story goes pretty similar to mine, where it's like, this is my job. I get to podcast, speak, and coach and consult. Like that is my job now. I am so fulfilled because I get to do what I love every single day. So really look in the mirror and think about this. Are you putting the wrong P in the wrong spot? Are you chasing profit and leaving passion on the table, leaving purpose on the table? Because if you are, it's going to be way harder for you to find that fulfillment, because you're going to be going from one job to another job, from one paycheck to another paycheck, from whatever your income is to another level of that income, where if you're really doing what you love, the money is genuinely an extra benefit.
And the important part here to realize too is that when you are passionate about something, I hear this a lot with clients and people that I talk to about making their passion profitable and chasing a mission bigger than themselves. They say, I don't want to make my passion my job because then I'll lose passion. Not necessarily. I feel like that holds a lot of people back. I have one person in particular who loves plants and gardening, and I said, you could consider starting a YouTube channel about how to garden. I mean, Emilia and I are doing gardening in our house. We have new plants and all that. I don't know anything about how to keep plants alive, and I could easily use a resource on YouTube to help me do that. But this person said, well, no, because if I did that, then I would stop loving it. Not necessarily. I love this. And the other piece of this too that you got to realize is that just because Kevin and I love podcasting, love speaking, love coaching and consulting, it does not mean that we always want to do it. Sometimes we get tired. It's like you can love fitness, but not always want to do it. You can love podcasting, but not always want to do it. I often say this, you don't know you love something because you always want to do it. You know you love something because you're always glad that you did. And I think that that's important to understand too, because just because we love our careers now and our jobs and our mission doesn't mean that we love every second of every day. I think that that's a falsehood that also holds people back as well.
Good point.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
So the next point here. So I'm going to tell the John Lennon story. I think that's important.
I'm ready.
All right. So most people have seen that meme on the internet where John Lennon basically was a little kid in, I forget what class, maybe English class. And the assignment was, what do you want to be when you grow up? And John Lennon said, happy. And the teacher said, you don't understand the assignment. And John Lennon, as a little kid, apparently said, and I'm not sure if this is true, apparently said, you don't understand life. Okay? While I love that story, what I find fascinating is that I don't think any of us really understand what happiness fully is. I don't think we were ever really taught what happiness is. How do we catch happiness? Are you happy? Do we even know when we are? Do we even know what metrics to measure? What does happiness mean? How do you get it? How do you create it? How do you design it? How do you sustain it? How do you make sure, how do you know when you don't have it? Right? It's this esoteric, weird thing. It's like chasing butterflies. We don't know how to catch them. And so we've created a framework. Again, this is about how to design a life of fulfillment. The framework is called the Fulfillment Framework. And at NLU, we teach this often, okay? There's 3 main facets of happiness, I think. But remember, when I say happiness, I mean what I believe happiness is, okay? Number 1 is joy. Joy is being in the present moment, enjoying what you do. So we'll use gardening as an example. If you love gardening, when you're gardening, you are in joy. You're enjoying the process of gardening. Even though it sucks sometimes, even though the plants sometimes die, you still enjoy doing gardening, okay? Number 2, pleasure. Pleasure is if-then. If I eat this donut, then I will have pleasure. If this live podcast goes well, then Kevin and I will feel good. If I drink this soda, then my taste buds will light up, and the caffeine, I'll get dopamine, which is a neurochemical. So if-then, pleasure. If I watch Netflix, then I will be happy. Pleasure, not happy, sorry. Last part, fulfillment. So joy, pleasure, fulfillment. Fulfillment's the third one. How do you get that one? I believe that fulfillment only comes from your own unique growth and your own unique contribution beyond yourself. This is why volunteering is fulfilling, even though it might not be that pleasurable. Let's say you volunteer and you do really hard work. You're doing hard gardening work to garden around a school or landscape around a school. Okay? That is going to be very fulfilling. But let's imagine it's July and it's the middle of the summer and most of your friends and family are at a barbecue and you're digging holes in the dirt on a Saturday. See, there's not going to be a lot of pleasure in that. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hot. You're going to be sweating. It's in the sun. You might be enjoying yourself, but it's not going to be a lot of pleasure. But the fulfillment that you'll get from doing that, see, that's what we want you to optimize for. See, some people chase pleasure their entire life. Kevin and I have been guilty of that prior to 26 years old. I got in a car accident, had a bunch of regret, redesigned my life around fulfillment. He had a suicidal situation, redesigned his entire life around fulfillment. Neither one of us really loved our jobs before. Now we created a life we love. And by a life we love, I mean optimized for fulfillment. Okay, so fulfillment comes, imagine there's 2 lives you can design. One of them is a pleasure-centered paradigm where you're constantly watching Netflix or doing pleasure things, partying, fun, barbecues, talking on the phone, whatever's pleasurable for you, okay? Seeking pleasure all the time. How fulfilled is that person going to be who's always trying to get that next fix, that next pleasure, that next fun, unique experience? Versus someone who has a deeply meaningful life optimized for fulfillment. So what Kevin and I used to do is chase fun and pleasure at the expense of fulfillment. And what we've flipped now, we flipped the script. Now we optimize and designed a life of fulfillment where, yes, we get some pleasure along the way. But to be completely transparent with everyone here, I am way more fulfilled than I've ever been in my entire life. Okay? But I have less pleasure, less immediate gratification, less quick fixes than I've ever had in my entire life. And I know Kevin feels that way as well. So optimize for fulfillment and allow pleasure to come along the way. Whereas if you're chasing pleasure, trust me, you might not be very fulfilled on the other end of that.
There's a lot of talk about gardens today.
Yeah, just went with
Doing some planting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I am, yeah.
Cool. So I remember looking back, I was walking around my kitchen one day, and this was early in Alan and I's journey, and we didn't have any clients. We didn't have a lot of listens. I wouldn't say the future was particularly bright at this time, but I remember walking around this kitchen, and for the first time in my life, I felt good about me. I was happy with the person that I had become. I felt valuable for the first time in my life. And that is just further proof of like, it's not about the results. It's about the journey. It's about the process. It's about trying to become something greater than you currently are. I think that's a huge part of fulfillment. One of the points I had on here is if you focus on improving yourself, you're going to get way closer to fulfillment. We didn't have a successful podcast. We didn't have a successful business. I didn't have a successful relationship. There wasn't a lot of things going on for me at the time. But what I did have was this podcast. I had this partnership with Alan. We had a community. We had a mission. We had something greater than ourselves. And I think if you're willing to really put in work on you, like if you really want to be fulfilled, a lot of the stuff that you have to do is self-work. That's internal work. It's looking at your insecurities. It's looking into your past. It's getting clear on who you are as a human being. It's getting clear on who you want to be as a human being. The journey of this podcast, this business, the last 4.5 years, however long it's been, I've learned so much about many, many different things. But I believe one of the things that has helped me be the most fulfilled was learning about myself, finding my bottlenecks, getting over some of my limiting beliefs. That has been huge for me because I think that if you feel like you're a valuable human being in terms of your own value, what you are capable of bringing to the world, you're going to feel way more fulfilled because you're going to actually focus on what really matters. At the end of the day, a car probably isn't going to fulfill you. A house probably isn't going to fulfill you. You know, the results, the shiny objects, that's not going to fulfill you. But when you look in the mirror at the end of a day where you did something that you love, where you contributed to something greater than yourself, where you grew, I believe you're going to be the most fulfilled version of yourself. And I just believe for us, that's why we are feeling it, because every single day we're on the mission. We're on purpose. I know for most of my life, out of the 32 years, I lived accidentally, I would say unconsciously. And now we live very hyper-consciously where everything that we do has a purpose behind it, and the purpose behind it is the purpose and the mission. And if you can really lock in on that, trust the fact that if you improve yourself, your circumstances will improve, the way you look at yourself will improve, the way you feel about yourself will improve, and you will be way more fulfilled because you're going to be capable of more growth and contribution, and that's what you're looking for anyway.
So we think of lifestyle design. Okay. Imagine your next vacation. You're going to go away for 2 weeks. You're probably going to know exactly where you're going to head. You know what landmarks you're going to see. You know what hotel you're going to stay at. You know what car you're going to rent. You know what places you're going to go and visit. You know where you're going to eat food for the most part. You have it well planned. You have it well designed. Jim Rohn talks about how in 5 years we will all arrive, and we will all arrive in one of two locations. The first one is an undesigned location, meaning you haven't thought much about it. The second one is a well-designed location. Is your next vacation more well-designed than your future? I was with a client recently, and I said the future belongs to the people who think about it the most. I remember there's this YouTube video in the 80s of late 80s, early 90s, with Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. And they were talking about so much of what's happened with technology. They were talking about these phones, these smartphones. They were talking about the internet globally. I Googled it recently. There's 4.66 billion human beings that have access to the internet now. Okay? Steve Jobs and Bill Gates were talking about this way before the internet was a big deal. And that's why they were such a big part of creating the future. The future belongs to the people who design it in advance. Okay? That can be overwhelming, but if you design your vacations more than you design your life, you're in for trouble. So let us help you do that. Obviously, we believe that health, wealth, and love are the three main facets of a fulfilling life. Health, wealth, love. That's why on our logo we have that. We think of it as life is a tripod. And the thing about a tripod is that when one leg falls, the whole thing falls. So imagine you are super healthy, but yet you have no money and no friends and no intimate relationship. Even though you're super healthy, you're probably not that fulfilled. Okay? Now imagine you're super wealthy and you have tons of friends and family, amazing intimate relationship, but you're in a hospital bed. Probably not that fulfilled. Okay? So you need all three. That's my point. You need all three. That's why life's so challenging. I know a lot of wealthy people who are unhealthy. I know a lot of healthy people that are not wealthy. I know a lot of people that are healthy and wealthy, but they do not have a magnificent relationship. It's very challenging to master all three. Kevin and I talk about this often. We are about holistic self-improvement. Holistic. Health is physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. I know some people that are physically healthy, but their emotional well-being is not good. I know some people that are emotionally healthy, but their physical health is declining and they're overweight. I'm not being mean to anyone. I'm just saying it's difficult to be healthy physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So that's health. Okay, that's facet number 1. Number 2, wealth. How you make your money. We already talked about that. Do you love what you do? For the most part. Okay. Number 2, how much do you make? Is that increasing or decreasing over time? Okay. And then number 3, and most importantly, where do you invest your money? Where are you putting your capital? Okay. Now imagine someone who's physically healthy, emotionally healthy, mentally healthy, smart, intelligent, spiritually healthy. They love what they do. They make a lot of money doing it, and that's only increasing over time, and they invest it intelligently. Third pillar, love. Let's say someone has an amazing intimate relationship. They have amazing friends. They have great relationships with their family. They have clients, colleagues. They have a team. They lead a team. Health, wealth, and love. It's so important to be holistic in your approach. If you major in minor things, of course you're not going to live a life of fulfillment. Those are the 3 majors: health, wealth, and love. All of your focus should be in those 3 categories. And almost everything Kevin and I do and don't do is in those categories. What we don't do is everything outside of those categories, pardon me. And so that's why we're so fulfilled. It's because we're focused. We're spending major time. We're investing major time and major money on the major things. And we're going to help you sort of design a life of fulfillment like we have. But that's what Next Level You is all about. And by the way, sometimes health gets more focused than love. And sometimes love gets more focused than wealth. You have to incrementally increase these over time. And you have to make sure that wealth doesn't grow too much when love isn't growing with it. So, but you got to focus on one at a time. So sometimes it's like 60% of my time and energy is on my relationship. That's a certain chapter, a love chapter. When I first met Emilia, a large majority of my time investment and consciousness investment was in my relationship. Now, lately, the last few chapters have been business, wealth. Okay? For a long time when I was fitness coaching and doing fitness shows, it was health. And so it's important to understand this holistic approach to fulfillment. If you're healthy, wealthy, and in love, of course you're going to be fulfilled. Those are the areas to focus on.
And another thing, so I'm sure, have you done that with your clients where you do check-ins and like you rate? So I've done the same with that, but also the 6 basic human needs. Mm-hmm. I think you gave a shout out to Tony Robbins earlier. Understand this. So awareness is always the first step. So there's 6 basic human needs. You ready for this?
Oh, I'm ready.
You have certainty, which I am very, very certainty driven, but we'll go through these after. There's uncertainty / variety. So certainty is knowing things, like knowing if the floor underneath you might fall out from underneath you while I'm talking. You're not going to be paying attention because you're very uncertain of whether or not you're going to survive. Right? So that's certainty. Variety is doing different things. Alan and I could eat the same things and do the same things pretty much every day. For some, places, that's a superpower, but obviously in other areas, it's important to have some different things going on there. Significance, what makes you feel important? I believe the example Tony Robbins uses is, if I am holding a gun to your head, I'm the most significant person in the world to you because I am basically holding your life in my hands. Then you have love and connection. So love / connection as one. And then you have growth and contribution.
Strong word.
Contribution. The first 4, we all find a way to meet them, right? I just gave you an example. If I want to feel significant, I can bully somebody, and that'll make me feel good. That'll make me feel important. That'll make me feel higher up than somebody else, okay? But when it comes to growth and contribution, and we've talked to this, that's where a lot of people don't have that. I mean, think about it. Maybe you're out there right now. Maybe you went to high school and then you graduated college, and maybe you didn't go to college. And after that, you never read a book again. You're not focused on growth. You're not focused on becoming the next level version of yourself. So maybe you're missing that bucket. And then contribution, doing something greater than yourself, contributing to something. Maybe it's a cause, maybe it's a charity, maybe it's an initiative, maybe it's your own thing, a podcast, whatever that may be. If you're not getting those two things, you're probably not as fulfilled as you could possibly be. But one thing I used to do with my clients, when they wake up in the morning, I'd say, okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to figure out the most important human need. For me, it's certainty. I'm just very certainty driven. Being an entrepreneur, that has been something I've really molded. But I would wake up, and I told my clients to do the same thing. I would rate on a scale of 1 to 10 all of these. So for me, if certainty was low, everything else felt way harder. Everything else felt way, way harder for me. It was just really hard for me to get up and going because I just felt super uncertain. Now, if you go through that and you feel like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm getting 0 growth and 0 contribution, start there. Because that's the route to true fulfillment. Mm-hmm. Most people don't have a reason for that yet. So maybe you have to create a reason. Again, I know for me, I wasn't learning, I wasn't growing, and I wasn't contributing before the podcast. So that was huge for me, and that's helped me become fulfilled. But maybe you have to find something greater than yourself to start the process. But that's a good little exercise to figure out where you're actually at and how to increase those numbers.
And just remember those 4 basic human needs. It's very difficult to focus on growth and contribution when those 4 basic ones aren't met. So imagine you have a super loving, incredible, intimate relationship. Let's imagine you have a lot of money coming in. Let's imagine that you have, great adventures every weekend. Variety is met, love and connection is met, significance is met, and security and certainty is met financially. Of course, it's going to be easier for you to go and do challenging things and grow and contribute, right? It's going to be easier to volunteer. It's very hard to volunteer your time when you don't have your own bills paid. And that's why I actually think that being a contributor, being generous is actually a luxury. You can't be generous unless you first get really good at creating wealth. It's so important to understand that. If you're not good at meeting your own needs, it's going to be very hard for you to meet your children's needs, to serve at a greater level. Kevin and I are constantly trying to become more so that we can serve more people. We're very blessed at this point to have 35 plus clients. And I promise you, there's no way we could have done that 3 years ago. We weren't capable. So the more we grow, the more we can contribute. And the more we contribute, the more we can grow. But that's only because we got really good at designing a life where we met our basic needs first. And trust me, when things hit the fan in our personal lives and we're not emotionally certain, it's very hard for us to show up on here and serve for free. It's been very challenging to stay consistent when those basic needs weren't met, especially financially early in if you're an entrepreneur, you understand this. At the first couple of years are nothing short of brutal financially because you're not known in the marketplace. Nobody knows. Imagine that hike that nobody knows about yet. It's like a hidden thing. It's like you could have the best product or service in the world, but people are still, going to the name brands, Nike, Coca-Cola, all that, because they're certain. They're certain they're good. Whereas you're brand new. Now we finally have an established global brand, which is awesome. But at the beginning, it was nothing short of difficult.
Hi, I'm Johanna Annunziata. I'm a high school English teacher. And last week, I had the honor of having Kevin and Alan in to inspire my students through podcasting. My students, sophomores in high school, they are creating their own podcast called Perspectives with a Purpose. So Next Level University, big-time podcasters Kevin and Alan, were able to come into the classroom and really share their purpose and share their why, and just inspire and impact my students on their journey. It was not only beneficial through podcasting and learning like the ins and outs of podcasting, but it was also just amazing to have both of them, powerful souls, super mindful, to just be able to share like, hey, this is why we started our podcast, and being really hands-on with the students to motivate them to understand like, this is not going to be easy work, but it's going to be impactful work. And to just help them be the best version of themselves through this journey. Can't wait to have Alan and Kevin back in the classroom. I definitely know that they're going to continue helping us through Perspectives with a Purpose. So thank you, Alan and Kevin. You two are amazing souls, and I appreciate you.
All right, so the next piece here. I have a client. She's awesome. She's from Spain. And the point I want to make here is doing deeply meaningful work that matters is so critical to your fulfillment. Now, imagine there's 2 people. One of them, they both intend to be a millionaire. They both have tons of money coming in, okay? One of them is selling cigarettes. The other one is doing deeply meaningful work with kids, and that's their passion. Who's going to be more fulfilled, regardless of the money? It's so obvious, okay? One of them is virtuous and one of them is not, okay? So I have a client from Spain. She's awesome, and she's a nurse. And for anyone, my ex-girlfriend was also a nurse. For anyone who's a nurse out there, you understand how challenging that job is. My ex-girlfriend was a ER nurse, and she also worked per diem at another ICU. And it was like the horror stories that I would hear of how hard that job is. Sometimes they can't even go to the bathroom because they're so strapped. And right now with COVID, I can only imagine. So anyways, one of my clients is a nurse, and nurses also have crazy hours. Sometimes they do 3/12s, sometimes they do 4 or 5/8s, and sometimes it's overnights, and it fluctuates constantly. And my client basically said, you know what? I'm sick and tired of this. Like, I want a normal structured hours. I want to be able to hang out with my family at the times that they're off of work. I just want some normalcy. So she went to an administrative role in that hospital. And after a few months, she realized, like, I'm not fulfilled. Yeah, this is easier. This is less challenging. This is less stress for sure. But I'm not fulfilled. And the reason why, and we identified this, she loves to serve and do deeply meaningful work. She went from saving people's literal lives at their bedside to then pushing papers. Now, maybe pushing papers is great for someone. Remember, everyone has a different calling. But for this person, nursing is her calling, and now she's actually writing a blog about nursing, and it's a whole thing. So my point is this. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to fulfillment. That's the thing about fulfillment. Fulfillment looks different to Kevin than it looks to me, than it looks to this client from Spain. You have to design and customize your life around what fulfills you. And so maybe being an administrator in a hospital fulfills you. I know some people who love spreadsheets. I love spreadsheets. I know some people who can't stand spreadsheets. Remember, what's fulfilling to one person is not fulfilling to other people. And you have to design your life around what fulfills you. Okay? I love sitting behind this desk doing my numbers. Absolutely adore it. Okay? I would rather be doing that than almost anything else. But if you're not like that, you have to find your genius zone. You have to find your uniqueness. And you have to do deeply meaningful work that matters to you. Very last point on this. My girlfriend's incredibly passionate about the environment. She was a little kid growing up. Her biggest dream was to go and see the Great Barrier Reef. And when she finally fulfilled that dream, she found out that it's actually the Great Barrier Graveyard. And she went snorkeling, or I don't know, scuba diving, I think, and found out that it's all dead. So she's an environmentalist big time. We literally bring our own bags to the grocery store. We don't use plastic bags. Like, we're adamant about that. We're doing deeply meaningful work. We're making choices in alignment with our mission. For me, self-improvement, holistic self-improvement would have saved so much of my childhood. I grew up around a lot of non-improvement. Okay? And so now it's my mission to bring self-improvement, holistic self-improvement to the masses. And to be completely frank, Kevin grew up around a lot of not self-improvement too, and I mean that with love, but that's why we're all in on this. Okay? What is your calling? What is work that's deeply meaningful to you, and why is it deeply meaningful? Because I'm telling you, if you're out there doing your job just to pay the bills, you are not fulfilled at the level that you could be, and telling you anything otherwise would be doing you a disservice.
And just to add on to what Alan said, I had this point. If you are optimizing your life for fulfillment and not shiny objects or not perception or not profit, whatever it may be, understand that you're going to have to go against the grain. Alan and I have gotten a lot of questions along the journey of like, why are you guys doing this? There's no money in that. It's like, well, that's not why we're doing it. You know, how are you going to make money? It's like, I don't know. We're going to figure it out. We're just going to keep serving people. And again, we're blessed now because we are making money with this. But we have gone against the grain in a major, major, major way. For you, fulfillment, like Alan said, is going to look completely different. It might be something that nobody else is doing. It might be something that doesn't lead to money right away. It might be something that you just feel really, really damn good about. And it makes you feel amazing when you're done. You're proud of what you've done. So understand that. Like, if you're going to do something amazing, if you're going to do something remarkable, if you're going to do something exceptional, it's probably going to be against the grain. And people might not understand you. And that's okay. That's okay. So that ties into my other point. your environment matters a ton when it comes to fulfillment, because imagine every day you go out and do what you love. And at the end of the night, you're surrounding yourself with people, places, ideas, and feelings who don't support you in that. They don't fulfill you. They're not positive, right? There's two types of people. There's feeders. Alan feeds me. I try to feed Alan. And then there's bleeders. There's people who aren't fulfilling you. They're not helping you with your goals. They're not helping you with your dreams. They're taking your energy, and that's energy that you can't get back. So understand that your environment, and this is something we talk about so often, the community aspect of where you are in your life is so very important. You got to figure you spend X amount of hours per day, X amount of hours per week with other human beings. Make sure that they are focused on fulfillment as well, because that's going to help you a ton. You're going to feel way more understood. You're going to feel like you belong there. Find a community. Maybe it's your partner, maybe it's your friend group, maybe it's a Facebook group, maybe it's whatever, a coach. But find a community where fulfillment is understood, it's accepted, it's promoted, it's the way that everybody feels, because it's going to allow you to actually be yourself. What's not fulfilling is hanging out with people who bleed you. What's not fulfilling is hiding your dreams because the people around you don't believe that you can accomplish them. That's not fulfilling. Leaning into your personal greatness and really chasing your potential and what you want out of life, that is fulfilling.
I remember when I first met my girlfriend, Emilia, we had a deep conversation about growth. And personally, to this day, I meet a lot of growth-oriented people, and no one comes close to Emilia. She's so growth-oriented. And I remember asking her, I said two questions. Number one, can you grow without challenge? Immediately, she said no. And I said, can you have challenge without any pain? She said, no, of course not. And I said, so why is it that human beings avoid the one thing that is necessary to grow? And by the way, here's a question for everyone. Can you be fulfilled without growth? Personally, I don't believe you can. And I think back on my life, the 32 years, and I think back to when I was the least fulfilled. You know what's interesting is there was a lot of pleasure. A lot of fun, a lot of parties, college, tail end of high school, all that. A lot of friends, a lot of surface level relationships, a lot of trips, a lot of variety, a lot of money. When I was the least fulfilled, I had the most pleasure. When I had the most pleasure, I was the least fulfilled. Now I'm the most fulfilled, the most on purpose, the most on point, the most in my genius zone, the most in my calling. But I have a lot less pleasure than I used to. I'll be honest with all of you. I work 7 days a week. I don't work all day, every day, but I do work. I can't remember the last time I took a full day where I didn't do any work for this mission. But I'm way more fulfilled. Way more fulfilled than I used to be. So this is heavy. This is a mirror, okay? We've got 6 minutes on the clock? 6 minutes on the clock. 6 minutes on the clock. We want to help you design your life around fulfillment. This isn't about Kevin and I. We're not here to talk about our lives and how much better they've gotten. Okay? Yes, they've gotten way better, and we're not perfect. From 0 to 10, we're not 10 out of 10 fulfillment, but we're more fulfilled than we used to be. And I asked Kevin earlier when we were recording, I said, from 0 to 10, how fulfilled are you? He gave me an 8. Okay? I said, what did it used to be prior to the podcast, prior to Hyperconscious, prior to you and I teaming up? He said 2. I said, see, that's awesome. From 2 to 8. But he didn't go from 2 to 8. He went from 2 to 3. And then probably from 3 back to 2, and then from 2 to 4. And then from 4 back to 3, and then from 3 to 5. See, it took 5.5 years, 4.5 years, 5 years almost.
300 years.
300 years. It took almost 5 years for us to turn this thing around. For me, 7 when I was 26. Okay? You're not going to design a life of fulfillment and suddenly wake up tomorrow and be fulfilled. It's not like that. There is no mythical land of perfect life. It doesn't exist. But there is better. There is 1% improvement over time. There is more and more and more fulfillment. More and more and more growth. More and more love. More and more emotional regulation. I could go on and on and on. And so to make this practical, I take my clients through a diagnostic. Kevin does as well. And I have it over here. And if you aren't driving and you do have a piece of paper, please write this down. It's like a pyramid. I call it the pyramid of fulfillment. And the cool part about a pyramid is the bigger the foundation is, the taller it can go. But if the foundation shrinks too much, it'll topple. All right? So the foundation, the bottom of the pyramid. We've all heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I have a more 21st century practical approach, and some people will disagree with it. Some people won't. This is what I use in my coaching. Kevin's adopted much of this as well, and he's also helped me create this. Okay? Emilia's helped me. Many people deserve credit for some of this. So the very bottom of this pyramid is your health first. It's the health is the foundation. If you don't have your health, you have nothing else, and we all know that. I have a flashcard in my pocket. I'll be honest, it's right over there on my desk. It's normally in my pocket. And there's a quote in one of these flashcards. I have many flashcards. One of them says, "There is someone in a hospital bed right now begging God for the opportunity that you have to make a difference." Okay, so if you don't have your health, you have nothing. So that's where we start. Sleep, hydration, nutrition, training, and mobility. I'll go quickly because we got to crank. Sleep. Are you getting consistent 8 hours of sleep? Some people it's 7, some people it's 9, but generally, are you getting quality REM sleep every single night? Okay, and if you don't, most likely you're not going to be fulfilled, at least not at the highest level that you could. Okay, hydration. Are you drinking water consistently? Kevin and I always have our water bottles, specifically on us. Okay, nutrition. This is, are you eating enough carbs, proteins, and fats? And are you eating healthy foods that are nutritious? Okay? Training. Are you exercising consistently? Yes or no? Okay? There's many different forms of each of these, many different foods, many different types of exercise, but basically these are the basics. And then mobility. Are you stretching? Are you pliable? Are you foam rolling? Are you mobile? Okay? Or do you have aches and pains everywhere all the time? Okay? And I've been there too. The last one, actually, one of my clients came up with this. Body maintenance and upkeep. Are you brushing your teeth? Are you washing your body consistently? Are you taking care of yourself? Maintenance, right? Are you flossing? All that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's the bottom of the pyramid. That's the first. That's level 1, we'll call it. This is next level you. That's level 1. Get your health in order. This is a diagnostic, 0 to 10, each of these categories. Okay? Go back and listen to this if you have to. Rate yourself, 0 to 10. How well am I sleeping? Cool. Next one. Next one is, and I've got it over here, safety. Both physically and psychological safety. Okay, the other night we heard a bang in the house. One of our mirrors had dropped and
you
smashed.
go out with I
had a bat.
The old hammer up.
I had a bat. Yeah.
You want one?
And Emilia's like, I don't want you to feel like you have to do that. Like, I can go. I'm like, babe, you're good. Don't even worry about it. And yes, I have a bat under my bed. So anyways, that's both geographic safety, physical safety, but also psychological safety. Do you feel safe at home? Do you feel secure in your intimate relationship, or are you being abused? Okay? Real talk. Next, security, certainty, financial security in particular. Do you have enough money coming in? Are you going to be able to pay your bills this month? Because if the answer is no, you're going to be stressed, and it's going to be hard for you to pay attention to Kevin and I right now. All right, I'm going to keep cranking because we got to go. Shelter. Is your shelter safe and secure? Do you not have water leaking through the basement or mold or whatever? Okay? Basic needs. Next layer. Okay? The next layer, and you also can add sex in there if you'd like. That can be self or with a partner. Awesome. Next is emotional. This is love. So far we've got physical at the bottom, then you've got mental and emotional next, and then you've got emotional. This is belonging. How much do you belong in your environments? Do you belong in your friend groups, or do you always feel left out? Do you feel like you can't be yourself? Do you have a high sense of belonging in the world, in your community, in your state, in your country? I have some clients who are in a country right now, they literally want to leave because of what's going on with COVID and stuff, right? That means they have low belonging, okay? Their freedoms are being taken, stuff like that. Again, heavy. Community, love and connection. Love and connection is in this category. Do you feel loved and connected to your intimate partner? Do you feel loved and connected with your family, your immediate family? Do you feel loved and connected to your business partner, to your clients, colleagues, mentors, mentees? All right. Variety. Do you have fun, unique experiences? Are you traveling? Are you eating enough different foods? Kevin and I have a very low need for variety. We can do the same stuff. That's part of why we're so consistent. 735 episodes would not be possible if we were super variety driven. Okay? That's our unique strength zone. But it also comes with detriments too. So we have to go and explore. We're going to go on a trip soon to Florida. for a networking event. Significance. Do you feel significant? Do you feel like you're special, unique? Do you feel like you have a unique gift? Okay. All right. Last two categories, and then we'll crank on the questions, Q&A. All right. The last two are the most important, in my opinion. But if you don't meet the bottom of the pyramid, you can't jump to the top. And some people get to the top, and then the bottom starts eroding. And I have some clients who are super wealthy, super fulfilled, but yet they stop taking care of their health because they're working all the time. And I've been guilty of that too. All right. So the top two, maximizing one's unique potential. So level 1, physical needs. Level 2, mental and emotional needs. Level 3, emotional needs. Level 4, these are fulfillment. Level 4 and 5 are fulfillment. Okay? Level 4 is maximizing your own unique potential. That means your gifting. I know some people that are unbelievably good at bodybuilding and would knock me out of the park every chance they get in bodybuilding, but as a runner, I could definitely beat them because of their genetic gifting. So what's your unique gifting? Okay? Last but not least, maximizing one's unique contribution. Is your contribution going to be writing? Is it going to be oratory like ours? Is it going to be business? Right? What's your unique contribution? And then all of this pyramid of fulfillment, all of this diagnostic rolls up to a mission and a purpose. And that mission and purpose is unique to you. For Kevin and I, it's bringing holistic self-improvement to the masses. There's 4.66 billion people online. We, fortunately, are listened to in over 100 countries, all over the world, thousands and thousands of listens every single day. And it's unbelievable. But we, 5.5 years ago, had none of this figured out. So if it feels overwhelming, good. It's time to start dialing some of this in. Rate yourself from 0 to 10 on all of those. And if you're a 2, that's okay. We were also. But we finally started working on these things. And now we're fulfilled. Fulfillment will not come by accident. Success will not come by accident. Love does not come by accident. Health does not come by accident. It actually decays. You have to work on these things and you have to be proactive, and hopefully that diagnostic will help you. And if anyone wants that diagnostic, I will literally send it to you. Please DM me on any Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn.
Hold on. This one here. It's hard to find it because it's the opposite. Heavy one tonight.
Yeah.
Heavy one tonight. All right, I got to change our sound settings here so we can bring Amy in. We're going to get into the ye old Q&A. Un momento, Amy. Let me turn off our echo cancellation.